Joining us, another part of the Arizona delegation, State Senator Anthony Kern, District 27?
27.
27?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you are running for CD8.
CD8.
So you're looking to run to come to Washington?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's start with what's happening here. I talked with Jake Hoffman earlier today. What you've seen this week, do you think, because you're going to get outside push, they're always going to disagree, but within the Republican Party, Republican voters across the country, do you think that it's going to be able to widen the tent? Are we expanding the tent to get people, anybody that identifies as a conservative or with the R next to their name, to feel welcome in this party? Yeah,
I think we are, Mike. That's proven in the vice presidential pick by JD Vance and by President Trump. So, as we all know, JD Vance did not agree with President Trump 2 years ago, 4 years ago, back in 2016. And a lot of us had questions about President Trump back then. JD Vance was just a lot more vocal. So for President Trump to pick JD Vance on somebody that really opposed him back in 2016, I think it speaks to President Trump's character, and it speaks to who JD Vance is, because JD Vance is one of the few politicians that actually admits he was wrong.
When you look at that step forward, I had Meghan McCain on the show earlier this week, and there's obviously well-documented rift between the McCain family and the Trump family. And she said in light of what happened on Saturday, the attempted assassination, she was genuinely emotional about somebody taking a shot at the former president and said, we need to unify, and I'm willing to unify, and if I can do it, anybody else can do it. And I thought that was a great gesture. It does seem like that door is open.
It is. Yeah, and kudos to the McCain family for saying that, because, I know they've been under a barrage of attacks, as well as conservatives like me and conservatives like you. So we do need to unify after Saturday, especially. I think Donald Trump, he's a changed man since Saturday. And I do believe that he appreciates life a lot more. He appreciates, this country even more so than he has in the past. And I think we are going to see a unification of the party, more of a big tent where we're allowing, people from all walks of life to come in and support America First policies.
So let's talk about your race for Congress. There are a lot of, in my opinion, really good people running on the Republican side for this race.
6 of us.
Yeah, and great resumes for a lot of them. Let's talk about your unique qualifications. What gives you the unique qualification that you think you're best to address the issues that are facing CD8?
Sure. So, my experience. Number one, my experience at the Arizona legislature. Number two, my membership in the Arizona Freedom Caucus. I'm a strong, proven conservative. I have a strong, proven conservative voting record. My ratings with the American Conservative Union, Free Enterprise Club, 100. They're all 100. A-rated with the National Rifle Association. I'm strong on issues that I think the Republican Party and Americans and Arizonans as a whole agree upon. So what makes me unique is that on any issue that the voters will see come across their table, where Anthony Kern's going to stand. All of my opponents, they're good people, as you said, but you don't really know where they are on a particular issue. And so America at this time, the reason why I ran in this race is because I looked across the board and I see good people, but I don't see people that I necessarily would want in Washington, D.C. Because for such a time as this, I believe Clean Elections did a poll. And in that poll, it said the voters want fighters in Washington, D.C. We are too deep. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over again, Mike, and expect different results. And so in order to turn it around, you've got to get good, strong fighters that are willing to stand up to the establishment, willing to stand up to not just the Democrats, but to the system. And the system needs people. It needs to go away. And I, as a representative, need to represent the constituents of CD8, not the lobbyists of Washington, D.C. and the swamp that we find ourselves in. All of us can agree America's going downhill. And in order to turn that around, you can't keep voting for the same type people. Mike, all of us stand up. Every one of us. I mean, every one of us. Even people that say they're going to vote for Joe Biden in the next election, Republicans. Consider themselves conservatives. That's kind of a loose term right now, because every election, everybody's a conservative. When you have a race and you have candidates where there is a proven fighter, like Anthony Kern, then that's the one I would vote for.
Well, before I let you go, I had the same conversation with Jake Hoffman earlier today. We've got to address the accusation of being a fake elector.
Sure.
Jake approached it very heads on. I mean, he he put out his mugshot smiling and he addressed it head on.
Yeah.
How do you address the accusation of being a fake elector? And what do you say to the people that use that term and say that you are a fake elector?
Sure.
You tried to alter the results illegally in the election.
Yeah. Well, number one, we have the right to do that. In fact, I would say until we get the election system taken care of, I would say both parties need to send in a set of electors. And the Democrats have done it. You look at 1961. You look at what happened in our past. It's been done before. The term fake elector is actually a wrong term. It's a fake elector when the Republicans are doing it. It's an alternate elector when the Democrats do it. So I'll hit it head on. I just want to say, first of all, I have a lot better mugshot than Jake Hoffman. So if you're listening in, I'll put a bet on that. But
I've never heard anybody say that. That's hilarious.
Well,
That's great.
you look at what they're doing to President Trump. President Trump is raising money off his mugshot. Come on. I mean, we did not try to alter anybody's vote. We couldn't do that. The election it's not certified until January of 2021, January 6th. Okay, that's when the actual certification comes. There was enough people questioning the election, and they still question the election. And so we sent in a dual slate of electors, and it was totally up to Congress to make that determination.
So
actually,
where do the charges?
To send it back to the states so they could do their investigation into the election and determine whether or not they need to hold another election, who was the actual winner of the state, and that never happened because of what happened on January 6th.
So the charges, where do the charges come from then? If everything you say happened as you say it happened, you were alternate electors, how do they come to the conclusion that you broke the law? What's the accusation?
What's the accusation? I'm not sure I get what you're...
They're saying that you tried to alter the election, that you pretended to be the electors.
Sure. Well, I mean, they can say anything. They've said a lot of things about our president that are turning out to be untrue, and this is going to turn out to be untrue because let's take our illustrious Attorney General, Chris Mays. She has determined which laws she's going to enforce and which laws she's not going to. Why did it take her 4 years to even file this sham indictment? That's the number one. The first question I would ask is, what is her motive? Does she or is she just talking to the Michigan governor and the Nevada governor and whoever else she's talking to out there? And to me, it's an absolute, it's a sham indictment, and we're going to win this. And then hopefully some of us turn around and sue the crap out of Chris Mays and out of the Attorney General, because I am fully confident. One, she's got to prove intent. And she doesn't know that. And like you said, it's under investigation, so I don't want to say too much. But if you look at it constitutionally, you look at it logically, none of us went in that room to steal an election. That is a Democrat narrative. We are not fake electors. We are alternate electors. And we have the right by the Constitution to do that, or we wouldn't have done it. I'm not going to do something illegal. And I'm fully confident, as Jake is, as these other electors are, we're fully confident that we're going to beat this thing. It's typical lawfare by the left. And so, look at what's happening in our country. And that's why President Trump needs to get in there. That's why Anthony Kern needs to get in there, because we're going to fight back against this system. I was just asked at another interview, what is the first thing I'd like to see President Trump do? First thing I'd like to see President Trump do is take away the FBI's power to go after the citizens. I'd like to see President Trump dismantle, or not dismantle, but at least take away their enforcement power. FBI, DOJ, IRS. I mean, our government's being weaponized against you and I, and against the listeners on this program. We have got to stop that, because we're going down a hill, and it's just wrong. So the alternate elector issue, we're going to win that. I'm fully confident.
All right, I want to give people an opportunity to learn more about your campaign, because you're a candidate for office.
Yes,
people, website or social media, how do people find your campaign?
Sure. Kern for Congress. KernForCongress.com, KERN4FOR Congress, or you can go to VoteKern.com, and then my social media handles, Anthony Kern AZ, is probably the best one.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mike.
Glad you're having a good time.
Yes, sir.
Milwaukee.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.